Excuse me. Hi there, Bastian here. And even though we're in quarantine and I've got this child 24/7, I still want to make videos because I never make videos and I would like to start doing that. Mind her iPad music for a moment because she was stuck up my butt. I thought we could learn how to make masks. Ta-da! So this I learned how to make on one of the doctor websites. And basically it's two pieces of cloth put together and then there's a hole on the other side where you stuff like tissues or like some kind of filter or, you know, whatever you want. And it's washable, so that's good. It's like all the little accordion style, it's got long thingies, and it squishes to your face. I feel like it's even better than the ones that you just stick around your ears, because this is actually going to give you a little bit better of a seal. Even if it's not perfect, it's going to be better than just one that goes around your ears and is way open everywhere else. And it's pretty easy if you have a sewing machine. But yeah, I'm going to teach you how to make it. What you will need to make the pieces, I'm just using this cotton fabric. I'm pretty sure it's cotton anyway. You'll want to cut the fabric. I'm using centimeters because it's easier for me to get a better measurement. The width should be 18 centimeters and the height should be 19 centimeters. For the strings to tie them together, I'm just using some ribbon, which 4 pieces because you'll need to attach it on the 4 corners, and I'm making those 36 centimeters long. And then, as an advanced option, if you want, I'm using a piece of like this jewelry metal wire stuff for the nose part to make sure that it stays formed to your nose. You don't necessarily have to measure it. Mine is about 16.5 centimeters. You just have to put it on the top and see how it looks. You can sew it by hand, but then you'll need some stick pins to like make sure everything is in the right place when you make it, and needles, of course. Yeah, let's get making. Alright, so the first step, basically, after you've cut out your pieces, is to figure out where you're going to put the hole on the back piece. There's probably an easier way to do it, but I kind of just judge where the middle of it is, and then just cut straight across in the middle. So let's find the center. It's just about here. This is the, make sure that you have it the right way with the width and the height. And just go about an inch from one side, well, maybe an inch and a half to the other side. It doesn't really matter exactly where it is because it's just going to be stuck in there anyway. So here's the middle. Unless I found an ant. Here's the middle. Then just make a cut. Just kind of fold it in half. Start the cut, beep, and then cut all the way across your line. Doesn't have to be super perfect because this is on the inside anyway. Then we are going to start sewing. First things first, you can do this part by hand if you want. So we have our little slit. We are going to set this to the little wiggle option, but we're just going to sew around the little slit here to make sure that none of these little pieces come undone and get all over the place. You know what's going to probably help us better is if we take some stick pins. One might work. Take a stick pin and hold one side up while you do the other side, so that's not going to get in your dang way. Alright, here we go. As you can see, we have sewn around these little edges, so now it's not going to come all open and frayed when you put your filter in and out. Ta-da! The next thing we have to do is sew in this little metal piece right here. We're going to take some stick pins and we're going to stick the wire in at the top of the piece that we cut. And put the stick pins up as close to the wire as you can so that when you sew, you're not going to be worried about hitting the wire. Or, if you want, you can just take the wire out and then sew it and stick it back in. But I'm going to make life a little harder for myself and just sew it with the wire in. Don't be like me, kids. You don't have to be too precise with it because once you put it in there, you're just going to be re-sewing anyway. And you're going to be sewing a lot on the edges and you're going to be crinkling it up, so it doesn't have to be super perfect. Alright, we have sewn the wire in. Now what we want to do is make sure the pretty side is facing away from each other. So, at this point, since we're sewing these whole pieces together, we want to go ahead and sew on the straps at the same time. I'm just going to put stick pins a little farther away from the edge, just to hold this one side in place, because we're going to do one side at a time so that we can put these guys on. So since these obviously have to be facing one way, if you want, you can use ribbon. That doesn't really matter which way it's facing, so it's not confusing. But since these are, we want them to, let's see, when it's like this, we want them to be like this. So we're going to take our string, put one up here, a little bit down, and we'll use a stick pin in there to hold it in place. Make sure it don't move on us. And then the other one, same thing, but on the bottom. Now let's sew. Let's take our stick pins out and make sure that it looks all right. So when we open it, ta-da! And that is exactly what we want that to look like. Now we're just going to do the same thing on the other side. You know, we could have done the top and the bottom first. That may have been easier, but we don't do easy around here. You guys know that. We do everything the hard way. Alright, we're going to do the same thing on the other side, making sure that it's even with the ribbon on the other side so it doesn't look silly. Okay, let's stick it in. Make sure it's not moving. So once those are in place, then we are ready to sew this side now. They're both stuck in there pretty good. So now we're just going to tuck everything in and do one side at a time. And make sure these are all out of the way so we're not about to sew them. You can even stick them down just to make sure. That side's all stuck down. Make sure your wire is straight. And we're going to sew basically right where we sewed, or a little bit under where we put the wire. Take out our stick pins. Tuck all the wires. Tuck all the little straps in the pouch. Make sure they're not gonna get sewn up. I'm gonna pull them through the hole. Tuck them down inside and stick pin this down again just to make sure they're not gonna pop back out. And sew this side. Now let's turn it inside out. See how good we did. Just be careful when you're putting the wire in there. Alrighty. So we have our little face mask. All the little corners are sewn out. Everything seems to be in the right place. Now the last thing we have to do, pretty much we have to do by hand. And that's sewing the little pleats in the sides. Because it's a little difficult to do with a sewing machine, such small space. Alright, we have a needle, we have our thread. We're going to use some stick pins to measure out where we want to put the pleats. And the one that I have pre-made here, I have 3 little pleats. I sewed this whole thing by hand. It's not amazing, but it does the job. 3 little pleats, so we're kind of just gonna eyeball it and stick some stick pins where we want the pleats to go. I'm gonna start from the bottom, so it's easier to hold them. Now, with these guys, we're not really looking for exact measurements, so just kind of make it look like a little accordion right here, right? They don't all have to be even, just as long as they're even on both sides, and there's 3 on each side. So just stick your pins in. Actually, I want this to be a little more even, like that. See? Now let's stick our pins in. So another thing you want to make sure you have when you place your pins is that these pieces are all kind of lined up together. Ta-da! Just like that. 3 pins. And then, to make sure that it's going to be even on the other side, just hold it flat, and then just kind of eyeball it. I guess it helps if you have a design, so it's kind of the same all the way across. And then stick your pins in where you eyeballed it. Ta-da! Now it's going to be same both sides. and we're just going to sew it by hand. Basically how I do it is, so I start on the side with the hole, and then I kind of just sew a box, and a box, and then that keeps it from coming apart. I do like to start inside of one of the pleats, just so I can hide the ugly end piece of the thread. Let's get to sewing. Ow! I poked myself. And we have one side. One side is done. It's not super pretty when you sew it by hand, but hey. Let's start on the other side. Ow! Alright, there we have it. The completed mask that we just made. I know a lot of people are doing the whole no-sew masks or whatever, but I mean, a lot of people have a sewing machine and it's basically just straight lines that you're sewing, and then you're just doing a little bit of measurement. So we got the pleats on the sides, these guys, the hole so you can fill it up with tissues or some kind of filter or whatever you want to use. And then it's got the little metal guy on the top so it can stick to your nose. I don't really want to put it on because this is for a friend, and I don't want her to like immediately feel like I got coronavirus all over it. So here we go. Not too hard, and kind of cute, and probably protects you more than just a regular surgical mask because it's got more layers, and you can put as many layers inside of it as you want. So, there you go. I'm going to finish my other one, and I hope this was helpful and not too confusing to follow, but I'm not a good tutorial person. Alright, have a good quarantine, everybody. Bye! Wait. Heart?
A dear friend. Yeah. A dear friend.